What's up, you guys? I know I've been putting off my recap of Indianapolis Supercross for quite a while. Off weekend is just about behind us. Birmingham Supercross is this weekend, and it looks like it's going to be another Triple Crown event. But I'm going to talk about the last race in Indy. But first of all, guys, that was a great night of racing, that's for sure. But first of all, guys, before I get to that, remember, subscribe if you think that I'm worth listening to, or if you just want to see some more of my games. I've already gotten one up already that was a total heart stopper for sure on Press Your Luck, with Peach winning over $71,000 and not meeting the whammy at all in 45 spins. But we're not going to talk about that. I got Indianapolis to take care of, and I'm going to start with the 450 class. So remember, guys, subscribe. Let's get into this. And there is my banner. Cooper Webb, first career win in Indy. Chase Sexton stumbles again to third. Now, I'll tell you this. Chase Sexton, I was expecting him to do a lot better when they got back to Indianapolis, because although Sexton took a hard hit at Daytona, and that's definitely reasonable in every way, but at the same time, I would have expected Sexton to at least salvage a second place. But then again, he did also have some problems in the sand, and so did teammate Aaron Plessinger with Justin Barcia, which is definitely a racing incident, that's for sure, and that's where I'll leave it, as far as Plessinger and Barcia is concerned. But Chase Sexton, I would have expected him to at least finish second, but until he went down, all that logic kind of went out the window. But that was a track that was kind of half and half in terms of passing. But still, it was a good race overall. But Sexton, I just would have expected him to do a little better than third. Justin Cooper ended up winning that one. And I got to say, this guy has Jimmy Button written all over him. You know, I've heard me say that a lot of times. But this is another example of what I meant. Because when Jimmy Button was racing, it took him a little while to really get a good finish under his belt. And when he did, he would start putting in some great performances back to back. And I can remember in 1998 where he had that run of 3 podiums in a row after that 6th at Seattle, where he was as high as first place for about 4 laps, or maybe 10 laps, maybe. Or no, 4 laps. I had it right the first time. But anyway, Button had 4 laps led under his belt, all at Seattle, and then McGrath overtook him. And then Jimmy was able to maintain second place until the final lap, when he went off the track and finished in 6th. It's just after Ezra Lusk passed him. Then the following week at San Diego, he goes all the way up to second place. And that starts a run of 3 podiums in a row. But then the bottom drops out for him at Tampa. And in 1999, Button got 3rd at Anaheim 2, and then he got a 5th at Tampa. But after that, his season kind of took a turn for the worse when he crashed at Atlanta, finished outside the top 10, and then was relegated to the sidelines with an injury. The way that Justin Cooper is riding, he's starting to put in those kind of outstanding performances like Jimmy Button did. But let's just hope that J. Coop doesn't have his bottom dropped out, and then he ends up kind of struggling after that. But if J. Coop can keep the momentum in his corner, I'm not going to rule him out winning a race before Supercross is over. But Cooper Webb out in the lead, and he is starting to run away with this title. I got to say, if somebody's going to reach out and take this away from Cooper Webb, Chase Sexton seems to be the man for the job. But now that they've had a week off, I got to wonder if Sexton is back to having a clear mind, because obviously when you have a concussion, now I don't know if I've had one before, I probably did, but that does lead me to being coherent in all this. I've had some hits to the head not related to riding a dirt bike, but still, it's definitely not good recovery, that's for sure, when you've had a hit to the head and then it happens again and again. Fortunately for me, I've had time to recover, and I was able to kind of like find myself and, not really have those kind of puking spells or anything. But anyway, as far as Chase Sexton goes, if he's back to having a clear mind, then I think Birmingham is going to be his on a silver platter, and he has to back that up. Now, obviously, you don't have Tomac. There's no Jet Lawrence. There's no Hunter Lawrence. They're all out with injury. It seems to me like if anybody's going to come back, they could play spoiler to Cooper Webb, although it isn't really likely to happen. I'm not sure if Eli Tomac is going to be coming back anytime soon. Maybe like the tail end of the Supercross season, because we got 8 rounds left. And but something tells me that since Tomac and Webb are under the same tent, there's no way Eli Tomac is going to help Chase Sexton, just like what we saw Jean-Michel Bale do to Damon Bradshaw to try to give him the title over his teammate Jeff Stanton. And +1, and give yourself a round of applause if you remember that one back in 92. But still, I really hope that Sexton can come back and win. But if Cooper Webb comes through with a Triple Crown win again, it looks to me like we're going to have that Cooper Webb is going to romp his way to title number 3 and make it a complete snooze fest. So somebody has to step up. Just like in 01, when Ricky Carmichael was on his win streak and Jeremy McGrath seemed to be the only guy to stop him, and he couldn't do it. Then Ezra Lush showed some backbone. He couldn't do it. Okay? So when Cooper Webb gets on a roll, somebody better have the wherewithal to stop him. And if it means putting the guy down, do it. Okay? You got to get back in the title chase, and Chase Sexton seems to be the only guy for the job. So I'm looking for Chase Sexton to be really aggressive with Cooper Webb and not just rely on a mechanical problem, even though it is possible. And you never know if that kind of stuff can happen. I mean, it has happened before. Just ask Ryan Villapoto and Ryan Dungey. They've had some mechanicals and lost a points lead, or their chances at the title anyway. So hopefully we'll see what happens. I might be able to see Birmingham before I go to Hawaii softball at 2 o'clock, doubleheader on Saturday. And Sunday is a rubber match at 2 o'clock. So anyway, that's all I have to say for the 450s. Now for the 250s. This is my banner. It was a 250 showdown, first of all. Seth Hammaker wins first race since 2021. Tom Vialle reclaims East points lead. Haiden Deegan blew another one. Now, I got to say, starting with Haiden Deegan, now, although he has the West title or the points lead for the West Coast in his hip pocket, this is probably going to be another one that haunts him for quite a while. And although he didn't get the best start, he kind of threw away his chances at the win when he went over the turn and found himself in contact with the safety net. And for Deegan, that's another one of those silly mistakes that he shouldn't. That's another one of those stupid mistakes that he really shouldn't have made. Because I can remember how many times, because if David Bailey was still calling the races, I can only imagine him saying that stupid little mistake cost him a chance at the win or something like that. Because, Deegan is kind of starting to become well known for that kind of stuff. I mean, obviously, are you going to eliminate those? It's kind of hard to do that unless you're naturally talented like Jeremy McGrath. But they do happen. And is it at a point where you might lose the points lead? No, especially in Deegan's case, because Julian Beaumer didn't have that great a ride and didn't finish particularly well. But the guy who shocked me was Seth Hammaker. I would never have guessed that Seth Hammaker was going to win another race. I thought that after he won the Arlington race in 2021, given the kind of luck that Seth Hammaker's had, especially with supposedly having chronic fatigue, as Cooksey had said, I thought that there was a good chance that Seth Hammaker could be a one-hit wonder, like Matt Walker and Billy Laninovich when I was growing up. But still, for Seth to erase all that doubt and win his first race in 4 years, yeah, that's really good. It was almost like a Larry Ward kind of story. You know, when Larry Ward won the Tampa Supercross in 98, and his last win was 8 years ago at Seattle in 1990. And that was his only win to date. For Seth Hammaker, Arlington 21, that was his only win to date until last week. So I'm looking for Hammaker to carry that momentum over. And I can't help but think that Mitch Payton had to have been so relieved by Hammaker winning that race. And I've been feeling sorry for Mitch for sure with all the bad luck his riders have been having with getting hurt, like Levi Kitchen last week, and even Austin Fortner 2 years ago after the first turn at Anaheim won in the West. That had to have been really bad luck. That had to have been the most extreme amount of bad luck aside from what things that happened to like Tortelli when he was running 13 and 01, or even Jesse Nelson when he was on the KTM team, the Troy Lee KTM team, got second in the first round. He was running number 13. Then he sustained a paralyzing injury the following week. But still, for Seth Hammaker to win that one, that was a feel-good story for sure. And quietly behind Seth Hammaker, Tom Vialle, your defending champ, had reclaimed the red plate after Max Anstey had another bad race. And something is telling me that Tom Vialle is going to pull off a Tim Ferry. And I was looking at the thumbnail for Pulp MX. They seem to think so too. And if Tom Vialle can win this title again, that would be a big statement to pull off something like that with Tim Ferry. We're pulling off what Tim Ferry did in 97. Because Ferry didn't win a race, but he had 5 second-place finishes, and everybody else had some bad luck along the way. John Dowd dropped out with an injury. Ricky Carmichael was still learning the ropes because he was still a rookie. And Ferry was just consistent. Tom Vialle has been very consistent as well. And you know what? I actually had Vialle as the winner of Daytona, and that didn't really work out. I keep thinking, when is Tom Vialle going to win a race? And he's getting closer. There's no doubt about it. He's getting closer. And if Vialle can get a good start with everybody else back there, he can erase those doubters and win a race for sure. I mean, RJ Hampshire won the West last year, had that wrist injury that forced him to the East, and he finally got a win at Daytona. So now it's Tom Vialle's turn. That's the way I see it. Do I think Vialle's going to win a race? Absolutely. He no doubt can. So hopefully Vialle can win the next round at Birmingham. It is a Triple Crown format, and I look for Vialle to be chomping at the bit to get at least one main event win or the overall win. Hopefully the overall for sure, because then that'll go in the record books for sure. Now, on another note, something you don't see on my banner here, Jet Reynolds on the Club MX Yamaha was given a written warning for going for a pass on one of the privateers. And the fact that he was given a written warning, I don't know who's running the AMA there, but whoever is handling all the penalties, I'm looking for a new president. I'm looking for a new head to run penalties, that's for sure. Because that was for qualifying, and I'd have done the same thing. But to give Jet Reynolds a written warning is kind of a sissy move, in my opinion. That's for sure. And I'm surprised that the Club MX team are not appealing this penalty. Because, I mean, even if it's not a position penalty, it's still kind of a sissy move, that's for sure. Because like I said before, the AMA seems to be run by guys who don't know jack about aggressive racing if it hit them in the face. Not going to lie to you. Because like I said, that was a sissy penalty that Jet Reynolds got. And unfortunately, as luck would have it, it got worse for Jet Reynolds because now he's out for the rest of the season with an injury. But, you know, them's the breaks, I guess. Who can blame him? And if Jet Reynolds was pretty pissed about that, I can't say I blame him either. At least in that sense, anyway. So, anyway, guys, that's all for today. And remember, subscribe. I'll see you all after Birmingham.